It's my birthday, and because it's my birthday, I have gifted myself with 2 new sets of paint marker from POSCA. I have the regular set and the pastel set. So far, every experiment that I've done with paint markers, which let's see if we can find some of here, for example, this yellow and the highlights on her. We're all done with the Pilot PINTOR series. I have a few of them in the 1.4 medium tip size. However, as you can see, it says medium, but I find them quite large for the kind of small details that I tend to do. And then I have only the green in the fine one, which even for being fine, it's still about 1 millimeter, so not exactly what you need to do very small detail line work. So when I saw that the store that I really like to get my pens from had a sale on POSCA, I knew that I had to try them. So these are the ultra fine tip with the 0.7 millimeters, and I got them, as I said, in these 2 sets. You can immediately see that both sets have a white marker, which is presumably exactly the same, while the regular set also has a black marker, which the pastel doesn't. And as a result, the standard set is missing a saturated orange, which luckily I do have in this series, so we'll see how the swatches come out. I'm going to start by opening them and arranging them next to the ones that I already own. I'm going to swatch them next to each other so I can see which one matches up with which. Oh, I forgot to say, I've also tried 2 markers of a different series from the PINTOR. I have blue and red of YONO from Marabou. One of them is the standard tip, the 1.5 to 3 millimeters. You can reverse the tip, actually. I currently have it on the 1.5, but as you can see, the tip is quite busted, while the blue one is on the fine tip only. I'm going to be using my sketchbook. It's a Moleskine standard A5, and it's sort of where I tend to do most of my sketch work, which is what I will be using the markers on a lot. So hopefully that will give me a feel for the paper as well. At the beginning, you're going to have to shake it quite a bit to have the ink come out. And then when you get on the paper, press it for a few times. This kind of varied for me depending on the markers and my patience, but once you do it at the beginning, it shouldn't require too much later on to revive the ink flow. I'm now moving on to the PINTOR Pilot marker to swatch next to the new POSCA one, so I can see the difference in both feel and application onto the paper. As you can see, it's quite a bit lighter despite it being my darkest green, and it's creating a lot more piling up on the paper and is way less covering and uniform. I am going to skip through the rest of the swatching really quickly because, as you can see, my desk shakes quite a bit, and then I'm going to go more in details at the end of all the swatching. So here we are with all the swatches complete. I definitely like the POSCA a lot more, both in terms of how the tip glides onto the paper. I find the application very satisfying, and then also in terms of the results, I think is a lot more covering, a lot more matte, and even though it was a fine tip, it wasn't hard to cover. This little square, it might be a little harder if you're doing large areas, but I mostly use this to go over my Copics to do highlights or shadows, so I really like the way it goes onto the sketchbook. As I was noticing when I was looking at the packets, there is an orange missing, so the only option you have is this sort of peachy kind of color. So definitely if orange is a color you use a lot, that's something to keep in mind. It might not be an issue with larger sets. However, with these 16 markers that I have, that's definitely a gap. The black covering everything the way you would expect it to. I also tried to swatch some gold and silver. I've been really liking these two paint markers. They are not POSCA or the other brands. They are from Pentel, and I really like how shiny and sort of reflective they come through. However, the tip, which is sort of a metal applicator, tends to get clogged quite fast. It's both wasteful and pricey, so I've been trying to look for replacement, and so far nothing has matched them. The new pens that I've tested are Pentel. I really like the white. I thought the white was really covering, which is something I've been looking for in my white pens, and I will be doing a different video where I'm testing all my different white pens and inks over a series of mediums that I use, so stay tuned for that. But as for the metallic, I'm still not satisfied, so if anyone has suggestions for paints or watercolors that are nice and covering and shiny, please do drop them in the comments. I hope this can be useful for people who are thinking whether or not it's worth investing in POSCA. They were definitely pricier than the other markers. However, if you can find sets that are on sale, they are really affordable, and even just 16 of them cover quite a range. Thank you so much for tuning in. Till the next time.